I personally very much agree. I think the closest thing we get to an objective truth is that feeling of goodness. Like that's something that's tangible for us that we can feel and say there's something to it. So I very much agree with you on that. And I also agree that anything beyond that, any objective truths or reality probably don't exist. It's a weird kind of paradox of life, though, where I think we would all agree objective truth would be the ideal. If we could know for sure, in the spirit of, being mindful and being aware, that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to get clarity. We're trying to get a better sense of who we are and what we are. So it's almost like we're striving for this objective truth because we know it's the best thing we can have, but at the same time have to acknowledge we're never going to have it, and it's not there. And I think that's where I struggle in the spirit of this conversation, because I worry if I just hang it on goodness, what happens if I'm missing something? What happens if that goodness is hurting somebody else in some way? Or what happens if it gets really complex and there's competing values at play? But I think what you're saying, although in the spirit of that paradox isn't ideal, is the best we're going to get, which is be as thoughtful as you can be as mindful as you can be, figure out what makes you feel good and go with it, but constantly be assessing it. And I think that's probably the best we can do. And I also think it probably answers our question from the beginning of why don't more people do this, because of that sentiment of that sounds hard. That sounds like a lot of work. Yeah, it is. Am I guaranteed to get to the right answer? No, unfortunately, you're not, because there's no objective right answer. Like, so that math doesn't check out for a lot of people. They feel like, well, then it doesn't seem worth it. I don't want to do the hard thing if you can't guarantee me it's going to help me. But I think what you're saying, and I think what I would agree with, is you'll be better off. It will be hard. It won't always be perfect. It won't always be right, but it's going to net out better off. I just think for a lot of people, they look at that and they say, that doesn't seem like it's going to work out.